This is Populations and Resources, Lesson 2.4, Activity 2. So if you should have just completed the warm-up, and if you haven't done the warm-up, make sure you do that first. Um, for a complete answer to the warm-up, you need to include information about births and deaths. In the previous chapter, we learned that for a population to decrease, there must be fewer births than deaths. In this example, the number of voles decreased. So the foxes got less energy from energy storage molecules. So they reproduced less and had fewer bursts. That's this example. So again, the number of voles decreased. So the foxes got less energy from energy storage molecules. There's less energy storage molecules available. The fox eat the voles. If there's less voles, there's less for them to eat. So there's less energy storage molecules available. So they'll reproduce less and then have fewer births. A decrease in fox births led to there being fewer births than deaths, and the size of the fox population decreased. At the end of this lesson, you're going to be given more scenarios, and you'll need to explain why a population changed size. You need to remember to include in your discussion of births and deaths, you need to remember to include in your discussion both how births and deaths are related. All right. So from we learned that a change to the resource population can lead to a change in the number of births in a consumer population. But we know that a change in the number of deaths can also cause a population to change size. So today we're going to shift our focus to what can change the number of deaths in a population. So that's our investigation question for this lesson. What can change the number of deaths in a population? So this sim activity is very similar to the activity you did in 2.3. But instead of exploring the number of births, you are exploring the number of deaths. So you are going to be thinking about more than one change to lead to fewer deaths, and you can test, or let me say that differently. If you think there's more than one change that lead to fewer deaths, you can test more than one idea. So we are trying to figure out what would decrease the number of deaths in the WeBug population. So if you change the green leaves, increase or decrease, would that change the number of deaths of the WeBugs? And then if you increase or decrease the number of furbills, would that change the number of deaths? So anything you think that would decrease the number of deaths, you will select here. So you're going to do that, and you're going to make a prediction and explain your answer. And then you're going to plan your investigation. So the things that you select up here is what you'll change in your investigation. So if you choose one of these or more than one of these, you'll write that down here. Remember, what you change is the independent variable. So these are the things you're saying that if you changed these, it would cause the number of deaths to decrease in the WeBugs. So what you're changing is what you selected. That's the independent variable. So you'll write those in here. And then what you're observing is the deaths of the WeBugs. We're observing the number of deaths in the WeBug population. We're deciding, okay, if we change these, we should see a decrease in the number of WeBugs. That's what you're trying to pick. You're trying to pick the ones you think will cause a decrease in the number of deaths of the WeBugs. So what you change goes here in this first one, and then what you're observing is the dependent variable, is the number of deaths in the WeBug population. So you'll put that in there. And then what you keep the same is if you're not changing, if If you're not changing something here and you're not observing it, then that's considered the control. So let's say, for example, if I increase green leaves, that's what I'm changing. I'm trying to observe the number of deaths in the WeBug. So that's what I'm observing. So I'm changing is the independent variable. What I'm observing as a result of the change is the dependent variable. And then the thing I don't change is the control. So for this instance, I would select the fur bills as the control. So that's what you're going to do for page one. The video for this one is only going to be for page one. And so go through the video. I just guided you through how to do all this. So if you need to go back, watch certain parts to fill this in, go ahead and do that. And then move, once you're done with page one, then come back to Canvas to watch the video for part two.